Okay, over to you, Ben.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sprint 12 Show and Share for Housing Repairs Online Beta Phase 2. Most of you, or I would say maybe half of you, haven't seen me before, so I give myself a quick introduction. If we can go to the next slide. My name is Ben. I'm a delivery manager here at MadeTech. I'll be taking us through the show and share today. So firstly, I'd like to start with why we do the show and share, where the value is. Of course, show and shares are there to provide opportunity for the team to really celebrate the value and the things that they've achieved in that particular sprint cycle. I'm really pleased to say that today we'll demo some of that work in software as well. And we're also going to share some information on the progress that we made and what we've achieved this sprint, what our future prospects look like as well, what our focus is, but also, really importantly, we want to give everybody else a chance to ask questions and give their feedback on what they've seen on the product so far as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, I've changed some of the GIFs. I wanted to put a little bit of a spin on it. So got good old Jeff there. What we're going to cover today, we have got quite a stacked agenda today. I'll go through the vision, just in case there's anybody here that hasn't been on one of these calls before. I'll take you through the team as it stands now, as we're approaching the end of beta. We have had a couple of changes and offboardings recently. We'll also be going through the service journey and doing a progress demo by the engineering team. I'll talk to you about what we've achieved in Sprint 12. We also have some really good stats on the Lincoln Live MVP service as well for October that I think are absolutely worth mentioning. And then we'll have some updates from Kristen from a newer perspective as well. And I'll talk to you about what we'll be achieving in our next sprint or what our aspirational goals will be. So if you can go to the next slide, please. Okay, our vision. Design and build a reusable and accessible online repair reporting tool that requires no login, that can be done from any location, and it can be done by residents, but it also can be done by other people as well. It might be another person representing that resident that needs to request a repair, and it also has to meet all of their needs. A tool that is integratable with various scheduling systems through open, scalable, and accessible APIs, and enable the tool to be able to be adopted by local authorities across the UK with ease. Next slide, please. So what does our team look like at this phase of the project? We've got the usual suspects, I should say. We've got Kristen as the product owner for the lead counsel. I have recently taken over from Paul. So Paul was previously our delivery manager from MadeTech. We still have our engineering team. So we've got Bhavesh, Mesa, and Mark still on team and integral to the project. Also, Wendy, I didn't see you on the previous one, so I added you in there as well because I feel like you're a core member. So that's what the team looks like towards the end of beta phase 2. Next slide. Okay, so these are just 5 of the points that we're going to demo, hopefully, from the next slide. So this shows a couple of the key changes that we've made. And instead of reading them out, I think it'd be easier. We've got a video on the next slide. We're going to play that video. I believe it's 8 minutes long, and we'll step you through each of those changes and improvements that we've made. And then we'll take questions at the end. So, Kristen, would you be able to try the video? Come on.
Please say if the audio doesn't come through.
Brilliant. Okay, I think we are now recording. So this is a demo of the service journey progress so far. Should we start with Mesa and the enabled search for communal addresses?
Yes, thanks, Ben. So we'll go through the communal journey. So I can show you the work that we've done this sprint, specifically around the addresses. So Ben, if you go ahead and click start now. Yeah, so this is a page that we've seen before. So we don't want to report an emergency repair. So again, if you go ahead and click through to something else. Yeah, and then now we're through to this page. So this is a page we've seen before. So previously we were selecting no because we were focused mainly around looking at the tenant journey. So we're now going to look at the communal journey. So if you go ahead and select yes. And then this takes us through to this postcode page. So we can put in a postcode that we know has communal addresses. I'll read it out for you, Ben. NG21 9LQ. So what this does is it reaches out to our API, and in that drop down, it will list a bunch of communal addresses for that specific postcode that we've entered. So you can't see the addresses in the drop down, but Ben, if you select the top address, perfect. And if you click through to continue, we've now selected a communal address and we can proceed to report a communal repair. I'll hand over to Bhavesh, who will talk through the triage journey.
Thank you, Mesa. I am going to talk around the triage options here. So here on screen, we see the where is the problem question. And for those who have attended previous journeys, previous show and shares, or navigated the prototype, these are similar and different to those on tenant journeys. So in tenant journeys, we offer kitchen and outside, but here we can see that, as well as bathroom and living areas and other areas. But here we can see that those other options are not here, and in fact, we have communal area. So what we're showing is just those options specific to answer this question, which are relevant to communal areas, communal journeys and repair types. Ben, if you wouldn't mind selecting communal area and clicking continue. And here again, these options are very specific to the previous selection and therefore specifically to the communal repair requests. In this case, Ben, if we can pick the door, the first option there, and click continue. And again, here we have a number of issues which best describe the problem. The first two, I believe, go to an exit page to call in to book that repair. So Ben, if we can pick the door closer is broken. And just like with tenant journeys, we have a option where if only 2 questions are required to map to a sort code, then only 2 questions will be shown. That last question isn't always shown in tenant journeys, and that's also true of the communal journeys. If it's not required, if further information is not required, that final question won't be shown. So here we have the describe your problem in more detail page, and some of it's familiar and similar to the tenant journey, and some of it is new and different. So specifically, we can see the where is the problem in the first input here. So we've asked this question so that the resident can enter a more specific location, which would aid the trades operative in finding the problem when they are on site. And that's particularly useful because the tenant won't be required to provide access and may not even be present at all for the repair to be carried out. And here and at the lower side of this page, we have the description of the problem, which is just the same as before. We've added some hint text, and particularly in the where is the problem hint text, we've actually listed or shown the user the selection they've made so that they don't, it removes confusion as to why are they asking this question twice. So this says, tell us exactly where in the area you chose we can find the problem. And the next thing I'll call out is the character limit here. So we have 50 character limit on the where is the problem, and we have a 200 character limit on the describe, the description of your problem. Now, on the tenant journey, we only have description, and that is limited to 255 characters, which is the limit we found within the scheduling system. Here we've got a total of 250 characters, and we've allowed a leeway of 5 characters to provide any concatenation or additional characters to separate the where is the problem answer from the description of the problem. But both of these will be concatenated and sent into the description field in the scheduling system in DRS. I'm going to hand over to Mark now, who's going to talk about some more changes.
Right, thank you very much, Bhavesh. Yes, I'll take you through more of the communal journey and show some of the changes we've made to the journey in the past sprint. So if you could click continue here, please, Ben. It takes us to the image page, which we'll skip for now. If we could click continue as well, please. And here we need to add a UK landline number just for the a number to be stored against the repair. Right. Thanks, Ben. This is the first change that we've made that I'm going to mention to communal journey, because when we make a communal repair request, we're not booking an appointment. So the title here is how should we confirm the repair request. For the tenant journey, the text here would be how do we confirm the appointment. So the title is slightly different here. To progress through this page, we just need to put in an email address. If you could put an email address in, please, Ben. And then if we click continue to go to the next page. Now it's showing appointments at the moment, but these won't be showing in the final version of the communal journey. We've still got some work to do to remove appointments for the communal journey, and they'll be done in the next sprint. So if we could just click an appointment time, please, Ben, and just continue. Thank you. Now this takes us to the request summary page. This is the page that gives a summary of the whole journey before we make the repair request. And for the communal journey, we don't show an appointment at the bottom, but for the tenant journey, we show an appointment. But as Bhavesh mentioned earlier, we don't necessarily book, or we don't book an appointment time slot for a communal journey because the tenant may not need to be at home for the repair to be carried out. Instead, we have a service level agreement, and we communicate that to the person that's booked the request. It could be 90 days, or it's configurable. So from this page, if we click request repair, then what happens is that the repair gets booked. It goes off. It gets saved in Housing Repairs Online. It gets fully booked, and then the person booking the repair will get notified through either an email or the phone number that they entered. And that concludes the changes to the journey yeah. So I'll hand back over to Ben for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Well done, team. There's a lot of great progress being made here. So that'll conclude the demo, and then we'll move on to the rest of the presentation. Thank you very much.
You're on mute, Ben.
It's that button again. Thank you. So you might pick up on a couple of details that I describe in here in the next couple of slides that were mentioned in the demo, but I think they're important, so I'll reinforce them here. So what did we achieve this sprint? So for the last 2 weeks, the sprint finishes today. We've got 4 key points. One of the main things we did was we progressed building out those repair online service pages. Some of them were common across all journeys, but some of them were very specific to the communal journey, which is some of the things that we managed to showcase today. So common pages, things like updating the address page to show the postcode and adding a link to allow the user to change the postcode as well if they entered it incorrectly. We also slightly changed a couple of pages in can we call if we need to get in touch, and what number should we call if we need to get in touch, and there were just very slight language adjustments. In the communal journey, we have been able to implement a feature that displays communal address as part of the journey. So say, for example, if you typed in a postcode that was a tenant address and didn't have any communal areas, you wouldn't see that address appear in the drop down. So there is a lookup in the back end there that understands the difference between communal, leasehold and tenant addresses. To describe your problem in more detail, so we've added the location description, as Bhavesh had mentioned. So if it's in an outside area or a communal area or a specific area in the communal journey, you'll get that location in the hint so that it leads the description in a better way. And then also problems reported at this address. Now, we haven't showcased this in this particular sprint, but we have been working on this. It's quite advanced now in the dev environment, and that's problems reported at this address. And the objective is to prevent those duplicate requests. So if I'm reporting an issue with a communal area, say a door in a communal area that's off the hinge or that's broken, then if somebody else has already reported that particular issue for that postcode in that communal area, they'll get an opportunity to see that before they move forward. So that's going to prevent duplicate requests as well. In terms of other things that we've achieved, we've created a communal repair booking API endpoint, and we've made some adjustments. So one of the things that will be coming up in future sprints is in relation to that communal repair journey. As Mark said, we'll be taking away that appointments page, so there's no need for a a requester to be able to book an appointment for a communal repair. The tenant or the requester doesn't even need to be present at the property at that time as well. So the way that it will work is it will take the appointment selection away, and then the back end will book the first available appointment, and that will be done automatically for the requester. And that'll be coming in future sprints. We also had a governance workshop between local councils and stakeholders on Tuesday last week. Multiple councils attended. I believe some people in this call were on that workshop as well. And that's where we discussed the product and the project future in relation to the next round of continuous funding. So it was a very productive session there. And also internally at Maytech as an engineering team, we've made some improvements to our Cypress testing and automated testing to allow testing of different repair journeys, so different user scenarios, and we've automated that as well, so it makes it more effective and more validated as well. So we've made some internal improvements. Could we go to the next slide, please? Okay, I wanted to call out 3 particular stats that I thought were really prevalent in helping us understand the value of what we're doing here. So in October, you'll see this 3 square on the left hand side. The first thing I want to note is October saw the highest number of online repair requests since go live. So we went live at the end of April. So May was our first full month with online service repair at Lincoln. And in October, we had 235 submissions just through the online booking repair system. So it's on month, it's increasing as we're giving more awareness to our tenants as well. There was also a 41% reduction in housing repairs wrap-up codes as well in October compared with October 2021. Now, there's a couple of caveats with that. What we don't have is an obvious link between that and people channel switching and going to online repairs. COVID may also have had something to do with that, with us being in various lockdowns and things in those times. But just the stat itself, it speaks volumes in terms of the amount of volume that's going through the call centers versus online. And the third stat is another particular value point that I think is relevant, which is 31% of appointments were booked outside office opening hours. So if you were to call on the telephone, you have to do it between 9 and 5 and perhaps sit in a queue for a little while. Whereas the most popular times for this for October was either 8 a.m. or 7 p.m. So, you know, that ease of use of service, that 24-hour availability, the average of 4 to 5 minutes to report a repair online versus maybe 8 to 10 minutes in a queue, then another 10 minutes describing the repair. You know, there are lots of benefits there, but especially the out of hours ability, I think, was worth calling out there. So kudos to Wendy for providing that as well. I appreciate that. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, I'm going to hand over to Kristen now to give some Newark updates.
Hi everyone. So really it's just a case of updating you on some of the challenges actually that we've been having at Newark. So one of the biggest updates is unfortunately we're not going to be able to go live with the MVP during this phase because we've hit a snag. So that snag is at the moment the online repairs deals directly with the scheduling software, but for us and the way we have our system set up, we actually need a job creating within our housing management system. We've done a significant amount of technical work, both with DRS and with our housing management system provider, to see if, well, actually, can we get from that appointment that's scheduled, can we get that put into our housing management system? And unfortunately, there's just not the right sort of fields and the right sort of bits of information that allow the two to communicate. So with talking with them, we've had to relook at that. And unfortunately, it's going to mean a little bit of rework. And it's something that's replicated not just with our own housing management system, but we've spoken with others that use different housing management systems. And it's a fairly standard process that actually what's really needed is that create job first. So there's then a job in the system that knows what the actual issue is, and then actually has then links that scheduled appointment to the job. There are some benefits to this that we're expecting to come out of it, because realistically, if you're amending an appointment, if that appointment is actually linked to a specific job, actually that should make life easier for actually amending that appointment, but keeping it linked to the same job, so that you're not just getting a reschedule of appointment almost acting as a completely separate appointment compared to what it would actually be. So there's potential benefits as well from what we're actually going to be delivering. This is just how we're expecting the system to, or we're expecting how we've got to develop the system. So we've been working on this with our housing management provider and with DRS as to what communications need to go where and how that would relate into online repairs in a revised journey, so that we can then move forward and go, right, well, okay, how's that going to impact online repairs? What else have we got to develop? What else will it mean, so that we can actually then as well consider in future how's that going to work? Is it something that we can then adjust, so actually you can still just have the appointment booked if that's the way your system works with your setup, possibly because you've got because some organizations have got subcontracting it out to a third party, so they can just go straight for the appointment and they get everything back into their housing management system afterwards as a single call. Or actually is this something that, but for many this is something that's needed. So from where this will then work is you've got 3 columns here. So through the 3 different systems, you've got your online repairs, the housing management system, and the scheduling system. So online repairs is going to gather the aim is that online repairs will gather those job details. What's the actual problem, which will create your SOAR code. That's then actually been putting it into the housing management system, which will then return a job number. So it'll actually create that within that system. Online repairs will get that job number. Now, if the aim is then if you're passing that job number back into your scheduling system, when you actually do the appointment side, what you then get back from that is that ability, providing you've got the 2 systems talking to each other, that which is something that we've had for quite a while and is a fairly standard integration, is that they're using that job number to update between the appointment and recognise that the appointment matches that particular job. So it's using that sort of standardised reference number as your thread through, which then allows the information to pass between the 2 systems. That's an integration for us that's already standard. So normally our normal process is we create a job, we then go into the booking system, and actually the booking system then knows that that job relates to this bit, so the 2 talk to each other, and when you update the appointment, it'll update and reference into the housing management system. So this is just sort of the process that we're looking towards. Now we've actually got to investigate that and see how that will actually impact online repairs and what's possible and what level of work is actually going to be needed. So one of the next stages that we're looking to do as an extra is to actually get that technical investigation done as to what do we need. Is it something that's achievable either short or medium term, or actually is that going to have to form part of our next funding bid? So that's sort of where we are up to. Especially if you've got a different way of working, we'd really love to hear from other organisations to actually get some more feedback on this process. As far as we're aware, and from what we're talking, we're trying to get it validated with as many different housing management systems, and also even with different scheduling systems as well. What do they work with? What do they cope with? So that we can come to something that will be as workable with as many different variations as possible. What we don't want to do is create something that backs it into a corner, that it'll only work with our specific housing management system and scheduling system. So far indications are that actually this is a generalized process, that we're not backing ourselves into a corner here. But if you've got any comments or any thoughts, or actually you do work differently, this is, please do tell us, because actually this is where we want to make sure that we are aware of the entire market, so that we're not just focusing on a sort of small group in a small area to meet a small group's needs. Because the whole idea of online repairs is that we can integrate it and have as many different options and as many different setup ways as will work across the majority of the industry. So I think next one, pass back to Ben.
Brilliant, thanks, Kristen. I feel as well, like with you explaining that, the penny has dropped for me just a little bit more in understanding that the relationship between the 2. So thank you for that. Okay, sorry. Excuse me. So what are we doing next sprint from tomorrow? Kristen had alluded to a technical spike on understanding the engineering effort and the time to link that job scheduling into the housing management system. So that will be one of our key focuses over the next 2 weeks. We're also going to do a number of changes and improvements as well, and additions. So we'll be reordering that contact and appointment availability page in the leasehold and tenant journey. We'll be removing that appointment availability page from the communal repair journey as discussed. That would be kind of a first available appointment automatic booking once that journey is completed. So there's no need for a user interaction there. We'll continue to build out the HRO service pages, both that are common across all 3 repair journeys as well. And we'll also be implementing that functionality in the leaseholder journey where we can display leasehold addresses as part of that journey. So we talked about the communal addresses, and if you were to put a tenant address into that postcode field into a communal repair journey, it would not show any addresses to indicate that this isn't the right area, the right journey for you. So we'll be doing that for leaseholders. And then also we'll be implementing a Find Your Repair appointment UI change as well in the tenant and leaseholder journey. And if anyone's got any questions about that, please do ask, and we should be able to field those as an engineering team and give more context. Next page, please.
So
Chris.
Back to me. As always, please do engage with us. Please do talk to us. So we are looking at our governance and our ways forward for the next round of continuous funding that we do want to apply for. There's more going on the website. There will be some website changes as well over the coming weeks as we add in sort of a bit more information around where we're up to and what we're looking for next, as well as the memorandum of understanding. So if you want to get involved, actually see, it's a non-binding agreement, actually see what that sort of level of what we're asking for ideally. But on the other hand, actually, if that's not something you can give, please do talk to us anyway. We'd still love to get you to get involved, even if it's just a comment or come along to the odd meeting or to tell us what would work for you or what wouldn't work for you, so that we can look at the future. So we have got the blogs online, we've got past shows and show and shares online, so they're all accessible through there, but we will as well be adding there will be a bit more content going up over the next few weeks just to help sort of expand and look forward a little bit more around the actual sort of product, what it's got, what you can get from it at the moment. So that will be on the way soon. Contact details are also on that page, or just reach out to us directly through LinkedIn, council websites. There's also contact us on the actual main website as well. So I think we're on to questions now.
Leon looks
Leo.
like he's got his hand up.
Yeah, hi. I did have a question about the duplicate process, but Ben pretty much answered that. Just a question around the memorandum of understanding. Is that available on your project blog for other councils?
Not yet, because I need to write a new page for it. I went to add it up, and so there's a little bit of work I just need to do around that, but we'll be getting it up hopefully within the next couple of weeks or so. Just want to make sure that what changes I do are consistent and not then having to rewrite even more pages.
Okay, I was just going to say, obviously we've had I helped you facilitate your governance workshop. There are a number of other discussions ongoing that came out of that, and I've noticed that we've got representatives from Bromley and Greenwich on the call. So if you would like to be involved, I'll pop my email in the chat. If you can let me know your availability over November, then I'll schedule that and send out an invite shortly.
Thanks, Leon. Jamie?
Hi, Kristin. I'd just like to take you up on that offer to discuss the diagram that you illustrated for how ideally it would work at Newark.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to take you up on that if you don't mind.
Brilliant.
I kind of want to model it 3 ways from our perspective as well, looking at options. I don't know if anyone's paid any consideration to dynamics and CRM systems that might sit either side of even the housing systems from like the customer service perspective where those are relevant. But Yeah, I've got 3 models I'd like to talk about, so I'll jump in if that's okay.
Yes, please. I'll say I've probably got your details. Haven't got Outlook up at the moment. I will dig them out. But if you don't hear from me, I'll drop you an email after this. But if you don't hear from me, do you mind just dropping me an email and we'll get together and catch up over that?
Yeah, cheers,
Oh,
Kristen.
brilliant! I put it in the chat. Lovely. I'll be able to pick it up from there. That would be brilliant. Thanks, Jamie. Any other questions or feedback? Tell us what you thought. No, I think that's it for today.
Great.
Right, I will stop the recording. Thank you all for coming. We will have one more show and share certainly in a couple of weeks' time. After that, that may be it, because we're coming to the end of the next of this round. So we will try and aim for one more after that. Just get a final pre-Christmas one in to give it a final update if we can. But thank you all for coming. Recording will go up at some point this week onto the show and share, onto the website. But if anyone's got any more questions or anything, please do reach out to us.
Yeah, I'd just like to say as well, before we finish, if there's anything